Hello and welcome to our class today. Today we are going to cover three parts. We're going to cover lists, we will cover forms and tables. So I'm just going right away to lists. So I'm going to create a new file, call it lists.html, and then I activate HTML tags by holding Shift and 1 on the keyboard. Then I change the title name to lists in HTML. So inside the body we have two types of lists. We have order lists and unordered lists. So for the tag for order list is OL. So inside the order list we add the list items. The tag is LI. So the list items, let's say we have a list of cereals. Let's give it a heading so that it becomes beautiful. List, or let me call it shop items. So let's say we have about 10 or 1 2 3 about 7 lists of shop items. We have a rice, we have soap, we have sugar, we have salt, we have toothpaste, we have toothbrush, and then we have tissue. Yeah, you can continue with the list, but I am going to use these 7. So that's the list items for the order list. The order list is numbered with number 1 2 3 and 4 and so on and so forth. Then we have another one is an order list, the UL. So an order list, inside the order list we still have the list items for the shop items. We're just going to copy these shop items the way they are, and then you paste them in the list items. So you see the difference. So for the unordered lists, they are always bulleted. Let me say shop items. So when you open in the browser, this is what we have. We have this as the ordered list, and then these ones as an ordered list. Okay, now the next bit is forms. Have forms.html. So we still activate the HTML tags, and then we change the title name to forms in HTML, like that. So inside the body we're going to begin by the tag form tag. Enter form, like that. Form tag. Now we use small letters, so we are going to write form like that. So it's going to give you an action, just leave it the way it is. Then here this space you add get. Okay, you add method is, then inside the quotation marks you write get. So enter like that. Then inside now we're going to add the labels and the inputs for our form. So the first one is the label. So the label is things like first name, last name, and so on and so forth. So let me write first name as my label. Then the input is the box where we add the information in our form. So we have input types. We have input type text, we have input type tel for the telephone number, input type email for the email address, input type text area, that's where we add the information. If you have any complaint, that big box where you add the information. And then we have submit, the submit button. After filling the form, now you submit the details to the owner of the website or to the admin of the website. So after doing this input type text, you're going to add a placeholder. The placeholder is that text that is inside the input box to explain to the user of the website or the someone who wants to enter details in the form what they are supposed to enter and where they should enter it. So here we're just going to tell our users your first name, to tell them that in this particular box they're supposed to enter their first name. So the next one is we enter the label. The label is let's call it last name. Last name. Last name. Then we have input. Input type is still text. We add the placeholder. Placeholder. Your last name. So the next one, we are going to enter the telephone number. So the label is telephone number. Input is tel, not text. Tel for the telephone number. We're still going to add a placeholder, the text that explains to our users what they are supposed to enter. So here you just write your telephone number. Telephone number. The next one is the email address label. Then here we write email address. Email address. Then the input is email. Then you add the placeholder. Then you write your email address. Email address. After that, we are going to add the text area. Text area is, the label will be comments. You can enter comment, you can enter feedback or whatever you want. And then in the input, just write text area like that. So we're going to give it some styling. We add column for the width, give it 30, and then row, and then give it some 10. So the rows is the height. Then you can also give it placeholder. So we are going to write, please enter your comments, inquiry or feedback here. So the placeholder, when somebody starts typing inside the box, it disappears by default. So that's the text area. And then the final one is the submit button. Submit button, we're just going to write the input straight like that, and then we change the type to submit like that. So when we come, we are also going to break the lines. We add BR at the end of every element. Add BR. So I'm just going to fast forward so we save on time. So if you don't break the line, the elements are not going to be aligned properly. But when you break the line, every element will be aligned on a different line. Like we will have a line for first name, and then the box, last name, then the box, that way. Okay, so we're going to open in browser and see what you've done. So this is what our form looks like. It's a simple HTML form. When we cover it in CSS, we will now have the opportunity to style it, and it will have colors, it will have different dimensions, borders, and what have you. Okay, now the last bit is the table. So for the tables, I'm also going to start the same way. Tables.html. I'm going to activate the HTML tags and change the title to tables in HTML. So inside the body, we are going to start by writing the table tag, which is just table. So inside the table tag, we have table rows, table headers, and table data. So in HTML, we don't have columns like in Excel. Here we just have rows only. So every element that you add on your table, it has to be a row. So even if it's a header, the heading, the tag is the table header. If say the information inside the table is called the table data. So assuming we are making a list of students attendance sheet, or let's say the marks. We've done an exam, and then we are grading our students based on what they scored in the test that we did. So we can give it a table row, and then inside this table row we are going to give it a table header. The first one is serial number. The second one is maybe the name of the student. The third one is the admission number of the student. The fourth one is the course that the student is doing. The course that the student is doing. The fifth one is maybe, let's say, the marks that the student scored. And maybe the very last one, maybe let's say the trainer. The trainer is training the student. The trainer, like that. So these are the headings. We are going to use these ones as the headings. So whatever remains is the data, but the data, we are also going to add them in rows. So the first data will be the serial number. So this is student number 1. The second data is the name of the student. Let's say the name is called Carol Juma. The third data is the admission number. Let's say the student is doing customer service, so we have CS stroke 1 or 3 2 or 3 4 stroke 20 stroke 2024, something like that. And then the course, I said it's customer service. So the marks that the student scored, let's say the student scored let's say 80%. And then the trainer, let's say the trainer is called Shalom. Let's say that's the name of the trainer. And then the next table row is the second student. So you enter the details of the first student completely: the serial number, the name, the admission number, the course, the marks, and the name of the trainer before you move to the second student. So everything will be aligned in rows. So we're going to enter like 5 details for 5 students, and then we'll be done. So let me just replicate these details for this one student because of time. So I'm just going to paste here the details for the second student, the same details. I'm still going to paste. Let me paste them about 5 times. So if we come to the browser and observe in the browser, this is what we're going to have. So in HTML, they are not going to be aligned properly. There's no good styling for it. But when we handle it in CSS, it's going to be aligned very well. We'll style it, we'll give it borders and all the other elements. So that is it.